Welcome back to Drop of Happy, where we focus on carefree, stress well, light and lively living while loving and reviewing entertainment art tidbits. This is the podcast arm to my blog, lightfeed.com, and it's just really basically bringing you tips and articles and thoughts that will help you manage your stress, focusing on using what you've got to manage what you've got going on in life. That's about it. And I saw this quote that really resonated with me because I think we fail to realize that there are simple things in life that are there to help make our lives easier, or that we rely on to make our lives easier, that we take for granted. And one of those things was, I don't want to say triggered because that's like a bad, I don't know, it's not a bad word, but whatever. I don't want to say triggered because it always has like negative connotations, but that I thought about because I saw this quote, and it was, we convince by our presence. We convince by our presence. And so I just want to talk about the importance of being present and showing up. That's what that quote made me think about. Like, there are times when someone is going through something and I wonder, what can I do for them? How can I help them get through this tough time? Because sometimes I'll be like, I don't got anything to say. I don't know what to do. I'll go visit people in the hospital or whatever, and I'm just sitting there. Go to funerals, and I'm just sitting there because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I want to be able to say something. I want to be able to do something. But sometimes I'm like, I might make matters worse. I think of those times when someone has passed, and again, there's obviously nothing I can do to help with their pain or ease their emotions. In those cases, and in many cases, I just think in general we really lose sight of what our presence can be in easing someone we care about through a stressful situation. Like sometimes, many times, probably most of the time, it really is enough just to be present. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. Sometimes it's probably best you don't say anything. At least I know I be feeling that. But I feel like we have to know that it is enough to show up in certain situations. It's enough to make your presence known. It's enough to be there and be as a pillar and be as a support. Sometimes all someone needs is for us to show up and support them by fortifying them with our presence. I find this is especially important, like when your loved ones are going through milestones, and especially when they extend an invitation for you to participate, right? And you might not think it's a big deal, or you feel like you won't be missed, but your absence would most likely be felt just as much as your presence would be. So do not discount your ability to impact with your simple presence. Showing up is important. It's super important. Show up for people and show up for ourselves. I know there are many times when I kind of check out of my own life, like when I'm just not showing up for myself in the simplest of things and in the simplest of ways. And I just think when I'm doing that, like I have to actively shift out of that mode and be like, okay, I'm important and I need me to show up. Your presence is important for those that you love and for yourself. Show up, be present. And I don't want this to be confused with like being in the moment and being present, like being aware of your surroundings, not like floating aimlessly through life. No, I'm literally trying to keep it basic. I mean, that type of presence is essential to living a full life. It's super important, like to living a full, vibrant life, living in the moment type stuff. Yeah, absolutely important. And I'll probably do some posts about that. There's a lot of resources out there that talk about that type of presence. But we keeping it super basic and super basic and super simple. Just show up. So a few years ago, like I was kind of trying to research some resources, right? And a few years ago, Dr. Daniel Siegel was promoting his latest book titled The Power of Showing Up: How Parental Presence Shapes Who Our Kids Become and How Their Brains Get Wired. And this was co-authored by Tina Payne Bryson. And they were on the Science of Psychotherapy podcast, and I believe they have a magazine too. And what they discussed was the 4 S's. So what are the 4 S's, you might say, and what does this child-rearing book have to do with us as adults? So according to Siegel and Bryson, the 4 S's are like, they're the baseline needs that children should have satisfied by their parents in order to grow up and have, like, to be their full potential, well-adjusted, awesome selves. So the 4 S's are safety, seen, soothe, and secure. Now, when I heard those and when I looked at it, I'm like, hold up, adults need this too. Like, I get what you're saying, and I haven't read the book. I just looked at the summary, but it's interesting enough. I'm like, well, I need to go read this because I'm intrigued, right? Because I need those. According to Siegel and Bryson, parents that provide a positive presence on a consistent basis can foster a sense of having a safe place, like a safe harbor that the kids can rely on. So when they out there, whatever they doing, falling, whatever, they know that they have a safe, because there's that presence there. The other thing is a sense of being seen as a person. And we're talking about like the good parts and the flawed parts as well, because kids go through a lot of stuff as they're growing up, right? And going through their things. So knowing that you have somebody that sees you and that loves you regardless, like when it's awesome and when it's flawed, how nurturing and how important that is to allow you to live your best life and to allow you to go explore and allow you to just grow as a person. The other one is the ability to provide soothing, but not like, oh my God, let me baby, oh my God. No, that from what I read helps foster coping mechanisms and ability to cope, because you know that you can get through this and there are ways to get through it, and you have that soothing presence, right? So you're better able to cope with life's difficulties. And then feelings of security, and that's basically by the child knows that they have somebody they can count on, right? And then eventually, as they're growing, as they're learning, they have that security. They can be that person that they count on and things like that. Now, yes, I need all that too. As an adult, I need all that too. And guess what? As adults, we can continue that and Of course, we're not trying to parent anybody or what have you, but this is talking about building relationships and connections. And, we're definitely social beings, and connecting with the people in our lives, and firmly believe like there is a parallel that being present for people that you care about is a continuation and can foster this. Of course, we're older and we're more sophisticated and things like that, so we should be better developed, right, to handle the difficulties that come across. But I know when I call certain people that they will be there for me, and that helps me to push forward and move on and keep going when there are difficult times. I know that there are people that I can rely on that'll be there for me when there are celebratory times, because it's all, life is both. Life is the roller coaster. It's the ups and downs and all that. I need and feel all those things when people in my life show up for me. I feel those things when I show up for myself. Be present and be a safe place where one can be seen and secure so that they can have the strength to better cope with what life throws at them, knowing that they're not alone. Like, what better thing can you do for the people that you love? Now, I'm going to have the link to Dr. Dan Siegel's website and also the book. And then I'm also going to have the link to the podcast and the page where I found it. So you can kind of look up more. You can look at the book, and you could look up, whatever else. If anything, when you walk away, I always like to say, if you take away anything, take away, be present, and show up for yourself, for your loved ones. That's it. If you like this, please share it, spread the word, visit lightfeed.com, visit my shop where you can get some journals, but most importantly, remember to live light and stress well.